Alright, we're back! That's right, Mad Cat's back again. And now, picking up right where we left off. Last time, we sort of got started with DBZ Ultimate Tenkaichi. I showed you a basic story mode run, and I showed you some of the training system, which, admittedly, like I said, not all that impressed with. Now I'm going to actually show you one of the custom parallel world stories, the first one you get to, and that is going to be the battle with Captain Ginyu.
To change the world, his journey of training.
All right, here we go.
Continue.
So to change the world, the journey must continue. And what the hell is he doing here?
What are you doing here?
Who are you? I don't normally see your type around here. I'm Captain Ginyu, and this is our special fighting pose!
Okay.
Captain Ginyu? From the Ginyu Force?
And how do I know he's from the Ginyu Force?
I see you're here to join the Force! Should've said so.
Not really, no.
No, I didn't mean to.
On the other hand,
Make me the leader and I wouldn't mind joining.
Huh? You think you'd be a better captain than me?
of course.
Right then. I'll show you just how amazing I really am!
Now, to be fair, when you first play through this mission, you're pretty low level, so it's very difficult. But after you've powered up to the point where I'm at, this is almost kind of comical how easy it is. It's like, technically speaking, I wouldn't even need to use super moves to beat him. I could just combo him and finish the job myself. Alright, so there's one. So I'm getting a blast range real fast. And no, he countered. Ow! Damn it. Let's power up. Alright, so let's get back into close range. And I will finish him off with my lock-on blaster. And Ginyu doesn't have any prayer.
This is rough. How could the captain of the galaxy's illustrious Ginyu Force be beat?
Because I'm better than you.
Okay, I grant you leadership as you requested.
No, that's all right. I have something else I've got to do.
There's something more important than leadership of the Ginyu Force?
Of course.
Of course.
Wait! Take this! It's a Dragon Ball!
Okay, so how does he have a Dragon Ball? And why?
Dragon Ball.
Why would he have a Dragon Ball?
Collect all 7 to get a wish granted!
And how is it that I don't know about these things? Is it that different a world that no one's heard of the frickin' Dragon Balls by this point?
It helps you in your travels.
By the same token, there's no Bulma, there's no Trunks, there's no Goku, there's no Krillin. Not sure about Yoshi or about Roshi or the others, so
And he prepared to travel to
can't be sure altogether. But I mean, it's just sort of odd. It's like, how does he have a Dragon Ball, and why do I not know what they are? You know? But yeah, the problem with this game is that I get the impression that this was a concept they threw in, but didn't have time to really flesh it out. Now you'll notice I get power-ups for completing those missions, and in all fairness, that's actually pretty cool. But it is sort of limited. I mean, it's kind of strange that they talk about, you know, creating and building a character, but then the options for building that character are somewhat limited. You either level up through the story missions or through side battles, or you level up through and then if you want, that's Ultimate Shinron up there, and you can go, and that's the final boss. But basically, But basically, you can kind of sort of go ahead and oh, I've also got a scouter. Now here's something interesting. In the actual game, one of the Dragon Balls is here at the World Tournament, and then there's also this little level right here, which shows up right next to it. And I'm gonna run this mission real quick and show you the actual missions you can have from that one. I'm gonna look for another. There we go. Alright, so there we go. That'll do. Now, during certain story missions, you can't actually use Super Saiyan because you won't have Super Saiyan ability in that particular story mission, so you're stuck with whatever mode you have. Now, it should be noted that you get Super Saiyan at one point in the game, and it does allow you to use it in any non-story mission. But the story missions still restrict it to certain events, so we'll get to that.
He traveled far and wide,
But he could not find the other Dragon Balls. Why?
Dragon Balls. During one of his searches, he heard rumors of a remarkable pair. A brother and sister.
Now, if there's a brother and sister and a remarkable pair, it could only be two people. It has to be the androids 17 and 18. As far as I know, there's no brother and sister combo in the series that I can remember.
I've heard tell of a pair, a man and woman who were looking for the Dragon Balls. Do you perchance know anything?
A pair, you say?
I do kind of love that that the cool voice is technically British, but
Dragon Balls will grant a wish when collected. I will collect them and return the world back to normal.
Did you hear that, 18?
Yes, I heard 17.
What? 17 and 18? You're androids? Are you two the ones looking for the Dragon Balls then?
Yes.
and again,
We've already
horribly bad lip syncing. Wait, in fairness, and I think it's actually more to do with character model designs and the animation. Now, while we're watching this little story thing, I did bring up in my previous video, I would explain why I felt that Battle of Z had a good engine, but it was applied incorrectly, and why this was its inverse. This has a great application of the DBZ license to the available engine and gameplay, but the gameplay itself comes up short. It's just not complex enough for my enjoyment. Battle of Z is much more complex and strategic, but it doesn't feel right for a DBZ game. It too hamstrings the characters and limits their abilities. I actually said this before, and I actually suggested this to a friend.
So then,
The DBZ Battle of Z engine would be awesome for a Gundam-style game, and actually it turns out there is such a game that uses a very similar engine. So I'm going to be doing a little video on that too, and then we'll get to that later on, but that's something I'll have to do for an import I happen to have, because the game that I'm referring to was never released in America, but I do have it, so we'll get to that. But that's for later. For now, I'm beating 17's brains in.
Because our energy never fades.
And then charging. You are no match for me. And it's kind of embarrassing how, when I first fought these two, I struggled to beat them because they were so much more powerful than me. But now,
That did it?
What a surprise. You have quite the power.
quite the power for a non-android. But luckily, I am not a non-android.
all right, I'll go next.
Unfortunately for you, it doesn't matter that you're not non-androids, because I'm still going to kick your brains in. Witness the power of my explosive wave. Block it if you dare, you're still going to get hurt.
Hope for better. Shoot!
Yeah, see, she still took a boatload of damage. And it's over if I hit another combo. I mean, yeah, it's done.
I'll finish you off together. Take this!
Why, you?
17, don't worry about me. Hurry and run.
And I actually, I did see some other people who did playthroughs on this who thought this was silly. And truthfully, yeah, this is actually accurate to the main version of Android 1718. Yes, they were androids. Yes, they were sort of reckless and dismissive of normal people, but they actually did have a rather straight relationship as brother and sister. In the Trunks version, they were brother and sister to a much greater degree, but they were also unabashed monsters. So this is an interesting playoff, but it's sort of silly. There's like he doesn't destroy them because they show affection to each other. It's like, you know what? I don't care. You still tried to kill me. Die. But yeah, that's me. Still, I think they did very well with the game's concept, but I just don't think the story was well thought out or designed correctly. And I think I got enough time for one more round of action. So I am going to go and do the Piccolo fight, which is where the game does get a bit of a difficulty spike. There's also giant boss battles, but those unfortunately take much longer than they should, and I just feel like, nah, not worth the effort. And now I'm off. Yeah, and there's a final battle here where you can fight Omega Shenron, or not Omega Shenron, Ultimate Shenron. And if you do that, it ends the game, and you more or less get the final battle. But it winds up being the last major battle in the game. There it is. All right, so this is where Piccolo is. And Piccolo is the only mainline DBZ character that you run into as far as the heroes are concerned. You do fight some DBZ characters, and you do fight some of the other characters in like the side missions, like the side battles, but you don't fight them as main enemies. And you fight Omega Shenron and the androids 18, 19, a giant monkey, which it's never implied that it's Gohan, but it looks a lot like the Gohan Grade 8. And then you have you also have the giant version of Bebe from GT, which honestly, yeah, I honestly don't really care for that particular fight. That fight's all kinds of BS, but like I said, not getting onto that. But yeah, I'm going to do the Piccolo fight so you can see the Super Saiyan transformation, which, depending upon how your character's designed, can look really cool or really, really goofy.
But for some reason, the signal disappeared.
Alright, so now it looks like we're going to go fight King Piccolo.
The reincarnation of the Demon King who'd once plunged the world into terror. Could Piccolo be behind these disasters? He decided to pay him a visit to find out.
So you're Piccolo.
Yeah.
That's my name.
But I'm hoping that now that they've released Battle of Z and it looks like it's doing okay, I honestly would like to see them do a new DBZ game where they more focused on this what do you call it, the custom character concept, because I really thought there was a...
If so, then I will defeat you so the Earth can return to normal.
I really thought there was a lot of potential there.
Guess you do have a death wish, and I'd be happy to oblige.
And I'll be perfectly honest in saying that I thought that there could have been a lot more done with the character idea. The idea of making a custom character. And I will be the first to admit that, yeah, it wasn't perfectly executed here, but you could do a lot of good stuff with it. Now, I will say this. Piccolo was one of the first really challenging battles. He's both the most difficult opponent you face at that point and causes the most damage. Now by this point I've beefed up and have enough power that I can more or less stand toe to toe with the dude. But let's see, now you notice that he's sort of like powered up or something. Well, that's the strike booster, and essentially makes him much more powerful, if only for a few moments. But it makes him immune to flinching and snapback damage. It also makes it impossible for you to counter his combos directly. Now you can break out of them like I just did, but it still gives you a heck of a boost and gives you a chance to really build some power when you need it most. But it comes at cost because it lowers your overall ki level, so you're actually lower in terms of, defensive capabilities, and that means you can be overwhelmed or super moved much more easily. And I think he's like the first character to really introduce that concept. And go boom!
You're still a fool if you actually think you're good enough to change the fate of this world.
Yarg. Like I said, the mouth movements are hysterically silly because they don't animate correctly, and I still think it's the character models. I don't think they were designed to actually have mouth movement, and they had to be added like at the later time, and it was just sort of goofily added to it.
I won't be fooled.
See, I took like 10,000 damage, but I would still be stronger than Piccolo.
Is that all? What a shame.
But even if that blast kills you in the game because of the fact that you're supposed to continue forward anyway, as you'll see in a moment.
Not with this injured body. I thought you could defeat him in my place, but I guess I was wrong.
Wait!
What's this?
I can't lose. I have to save this world. I can't lose here. I won't lose here.
And that is apparently what makes him go Super Saiyan. Really? And see, I would love to see an entire game devoted to the idea of creating like custom characters and just playing through like custom character versions, but they just aren't. This was just like an afterthought, And I think that's a shame because I think now you're seeing with Mortal Kombat and Injustice and a lot of the other games that have been coming up lately, I think you're seeing that there's a shift towards creating fighting games that not only have great multiplayer, but also have really good, well-structured single player. And I think that's something that should really be considered by, the people who are developing fighting games, that they should elect to they should elect to like create really good structured single player experiences and then include the multiplayer as an add-on, because when you think about it, pardon me, when you think about it, a fighting game's multiplayer is really simple in most cases. It's either 2-on-2 or 3v3 or something like that, but you're dealing with 2 players at a time. It's not like a big game where you're dealing with 18, 20 players or more. And I think the problem with the fighting game industry is they keep thinking that, we have to make these, we have to do Street Fighter style and make these complex systems for fighting. It's like, no, you have to make reliable systems for the actual gameplay, but you don't have to spend so much time putting it into the multiplayer that you neglect everything else. And I think Mortal Kombat 9 and I think Injustice shows that you can do it that way.
I'm guessing he was sent out to get me. I was a fool. He was planning a trap for me the whole time. It was too much. I was defeated. But
I'm thinking you might be just the hero the Earth needs. Like Goku or Gohan.
But yeah, I think that there's a... And he mentions Goku and Gohan, so obviously they don't exist in this world for some reason. But it's never explained as to where they went or what happened to them. And I think that's part of the thing is they could really build...
Were awakened.
They could really build a very good, very solid, you know, structured game around it that would do
who is this man who
a lot better. I mean,
Dragon Balls and
that's just my opinion, of course, and you're free to disagree. Agree if you want. I'm all for that, but I think that they could really do better by, you know, focusing on a good, solid single player, and then the multiplayer could come later, or even breaking them into separate divisions. You know, have the multiplayer be its own thing and have it be separate. I honestly think that's actually something that the video game industry needs to do in general. Break the games into component parts. Single player, multiplayer. If you're going to build a multiplayer focused experience and then just have the campaign being an add-on, then, you know, make the campaign a side purchase, a small one. You know, this game has 2 single player modes and both of them are more or less, you know, well written, but I still think that they should have dropped this story mode entirely and just focused on hero mode. But that's me. Anyway, that's about it for this. We're going to go ahead and pack it up here. Next time, I'm going to actually be doing a little side thing on a fighting game, a little Japanese fighting game that actually was released in America, but is so rare that I don't think a lot of people even know it exists. So I'm going to go ahead and put that out next time, and we'll see if anybody notices. I'll catch you guys later. This is again the Mega Matt Cat. Y'all take care.